Welcome everyone to the Nerd Nook. I'm your host, Evan Teague. With me, like always, is Noah Bailey. So we have a ton of stuff to talk about today. I honestly don't even know how, just so much stuff. Anyway, let's just get into it. But we are starting with a show that just came out of nowhere. I know it's an adaptation of a comic that's been around since 2003, I think, but this show just came out of nowhere. And yeah, it Invincible on Amazon Prime is very good.
It is so good. Been renewed for not just season 2, but season 3 also. Well deserved.
Yes. So spoilers for anything we talk about today, obviously.
100%.
But the finale just happened via the Amazon Prime. Watch it. So yeah, spoilers. Here we go. Yeah, I appreciate so much how they're them go ahead and giving them 2 more seasons guaranteed means they're not gonna Legend of Korra it, where it's I was so afraid going into that last episode where it was I was so afraid they're just gonna leave it a bunch of cliffhangers, or they're either gonna leave it a bunch of cliffhangers with the opportunity for it to not actually follow up on, or they're gonna try to wrap it up all neat and tight without it really earning it. But them knowing they have 2 more seasons, they're able to space it a little more, and actually that's right. Yeah, that's good.
It's so satisfying too, because because for a while there I was kind of worried. I was like, there's a lot we've got to resolve in one episode. Are we gonna make it? And well, we did, but also it was just okay, cool. There's still a ton of, because I was like, there's a ton of characters that we need to talk about. There's a lot of stuff how are we gonna go? And yeah, I am super pumped for this show.
Yeah, here's my history with this show. I remember there was a trailer, like a announcement trailer for the show back early 2020, sometime in the summer of last year.
Yeah.
And it was essentially just the scene of episode 1 of Mark flying around for the first time and in his full costume. But the music's playing and stuff, and it looked fine. I didn't think much of it. I saw that Seth Rogen was attached to it. I'm like, oh, it's just some I was kind of imagining oh, it's gonna be some kind of Adult Swim, comedy thing that with a bunch of different, because when you see just a bunch of different I don't want to say real actors, the people who are more geared toward
live action
actors
based.
Yeah, in shows like this, you expect it to be just a little, Adult Swimmy like that. And even all the trailers that they showed of episode 1 and 2 on Facebook and stuff that I saw, they were, for a superhero show, they were decent enough trailers, but they didn't really get me. If they had just shown if the trailer for this show was just a minute-long segment on YouTube that was a pre-roll ad on YouTube that was just titled Omni-Man kills a whole planet, that is the trailer for this show, right? Because that is why, that specifically is why I started watching the show, because I hadn't heard anything about it. I heard some people talk about it on Twitter and stuff about how good it was, but I didn't it's on Amazon Prime. I'll get to it when I get to it. And then randomly one day, I guess about a week after episode 2 aired, there's just a YouTube video called Omni-Man kills an entire planet, Invincible's episode 2. And just the music played during that scene was literally perfect for that just draw. Just literally it felt like divine intervention was made that scene and that song come together just to produce just the best thing I've ever seen. It was, and then a couple a day or two after that, my brother and I were just talking about stuff, and I was about what we're gonna watch after Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I was like, oh, I want to watch Invincible, and he was like, Okay. We did. It's good.
Yeah, I was stumbled. I just stumbled upon this because it was like, yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember seeing the trailer last year. It was like the scene where like they're in like they're doing the baseball catching like on in the sky or whatever, and the ball goes around the world, whatever. And I'm like, oh, it's J.K. Simmons. I was like, oh wow, that's pretty intense for like voice acting. Okay, and like yeah, I remember seeing it. And I was just like, this looks pretty awesome. I could use another superhero show because like spoiler, we like superheroes. So like, yeah, I'm all for it. So, maybe a tad, and you talk about it once or twice. So like, yeah, so I remember thinking, and I kind of, and I was like, oh, it's not coming out to 2021. And back then that was like, early 2020. So like, so I like totally forgot about it and everything. And then like, yeah, like March came around this year and I was kind of like, oh yeah, that show's on Amazon Prime. And I had just finished a different show on Amazon Prime. So I was kind of looking, and I was actually going to watch The Boys instead. Because that's another superhero show on Amazon Prime. And I was like, you know what? This is, it's animated. I kind of want to see what's up. This could be kind of cool. And yeah, I'm watching it. First step, it kind of seems very like, first it was 18 plus at me. And I immediately thought like, really?
Yeah, I was thinking like, okay, maybe it's a superhero show when like they swear a couple of times. Like,
yeah.
Just so they can get away with more like adult
that's not why.
Like, not really, not quite. No.
Really, no. Like I thought too, because I was like, okay, they probably say some bad words, but it is Amazon Prime, so like it's whatever.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like, okay, yeah, and like again, the majority of the first episode, nothing like that crazy really happened, and then like that after credits, it's just like, oh my, like, jeez.
I just. The fact that like we were just introduced to this Justice League wannabe, like they are exactly the Justice League. Like
for sure.
It's like how The Boys did something very similar, but like that's the show. Like the show was about, well, at least like kind of about this Justice League insert, whereas here the Justice League insert is in half an episode, and then they all freaking die.
Like viciously and brutally are ripped apart. Like not just like, oh, they died in an explosion. Like they are ripped in half, heads smashed into the ground. Like one of the most brutal things I was like,
no hint at all of like, even like there was a little bit of blood earlier, but like
no,
not even like.
Because like, yeah, like I think about like the White House scene at the beginning, like, and no one really gets hurt. Like, I mean, maybe off screen, but like no one gets like their head bashed or anything crazy like that.
No.
So like you have no indication to think anything's gonna get serious. And it just gets gruesome. And it's just like, whoa, oh, that's why it's 18. Okay, there it is.
Yeah. And like it was for me, it was a pretty compelling show up until that point, regardless, because of just the little moments that I think really just set the show apart from other stuff. Like I've never watched a show or movie that just specifically zoned in on the fact that on like just how bad food service jobs are. Like, a lot of shows you have a main character, having like a real job or whatever at a part-time job at some store or some restaurant or something, and they hate it. Customers are rude, the boss is rude, etc. Like this is a generally bad environment. But like just the little detail of him like dragging that garbage bag and then leaving that trail of goo, like no one ever gets that part right. That is exactly how
that is.
Like you don't want to put it over your shoulder because it's gonna go over your bag, but you can't drag it. It's like it might explode, so you just gotta like it's that. And then when he went to go lift the bin, like it went up and then came back down.
And it comes down, and then like the smell comes in your nose. He's like, like, oh my god, yes. Anyone who's worked like a minimum wage job knows that feeling. You just get flashbacks. I know for you, like working your food. For me, it's like Dollar Tree, just like, oh my god, here we go. Like the amount of times I've had to drag crap to the dumpster, and like, or it's like raining or something, or just whatever. It's just worse, and it's just And then I love how like he's gonna get his powers because obviously it's the show. Yeah. But I like how it doesn't, and I like how it's not like whoa, wait, kind of like in Spider-Man and stuff, like where it's like where it kind of just gets it all right at the 1 second. It's not like
Mm,
gradual. It's just like,
I
oh, I can throw stuff into space now.
I appreciate that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it saves a lot of exposition time
Yeah.
because it kind of feels like we've done this so many times. Just like, can we just get to this point? And it's like, okay, cool, you're powerful now.
And I think that's something that sets the show apart from other similar shows to it. And I think the comics are very similar to this too. They came out in 03. They like superheroes have already been around for 70 years at that point almost. So like they were already kind of tapping into like kind of deconstructing those tropes. If this were a straight superhero show, like it was played completely straight, the first episode would have felt a little rushed. Like, he got his powers very fast. Like there wasn't a whole lot of world building. Like it really did feel like it was 3 episodes thrown into one. And by, when the credits started rolling, me and my brother were both like kind of confused. We felt like it moved a little too fast. We felt like him already having his suit at the end of the first episode was a little jarring. Like we didn't really have enough time for him to really like wrestle with having his powers, his responsibilities with those powers, etc. But then, once you realize, oh, this isn't just your standard superhero show, it all kind of starts making sense. And I love it.
Yeah, and again, like kind of like you said, the show goes out of its way to subvert your expectations constantly. And I think that's what makes it so like refreshing and new, because it's like every cliche is like completely like ignored.
Yeah.
It is just like, oh man, this always happens. Yeah, we're not doing that or that.
And also they kind of make fun or even like further explain other cliches. Like no other show or movie what I can think of has ever explained how Superman can fly. Like he just kind of does. But here they specifically said, oh, we as Viltrumites, we can just create leverage off of nothing. Like that's just how we fly. In order to fly higher and faster, you gotta like flex a muscle that feels like you're peeing on purpose. Like you can visualize that perfectly. And like I like that a lot.
You're like, okay, that's not like, because it's like, that's weird, but like, I guess and it makes sense that Mark doesn't get it, because it's like, that makes no sense to me either, but it's like, he eventually figures it out, and like, yeah, and I like that too, and I like when he's being like trained and everything, he kind of just like, some things he gets faster than others. I thought that was really interesting, because it's like, flying, he kind of gets down like taking off, but his like direction skills for multiple episodes and his landings for like multiple episodes kind of suck until like episode 4 when he finally gets it all together. But like, I think it's just like there's gradual progression of things, and I really like all the characters. One thing I like about the show is that like, for the most part, all the characters react exactly how they would if this was real.
Yep.
No one does anything where you're like, that makes no, like everyone makes this, you're like, yeah, that is the smartest shit. Like, even when you have like the security guards and they realize they're dealing with a superpower person, they're just like, nope. And I'm like, that is the correct answer in that situation. Like, no security guard making $7.50 an hour is gonna risk their life for something they can't even afford anyway.
Exactly.
Like, no, like there's no one that's stupid.
Either try to shoot me and I'll kill you, or you can just shoot the ceiling and we'll say you did
the best you can. I was like, I like that, because that is like, no, there was not a single argument. I'm like, that is the correct answer. Oh man, but yeah, I really like it. It kind of like, I know obviously the show's like, it's fictional, obviously there's superheroes, supervillains, etc. But like, it makes it feel realistic when no one does the like, everyone's it's like everyone for the most part makes sense. And obviously, psychos are psychos, but like every regular character seems very believable.
Yes, like,
and I think that's really important.
Cecil especially, I think, might be my favorite character of the show. Like, he is like a perfect amalgamation of like a Nick Fury type and a Lex Luthor type. But at the same time, you completely understand why he's doing this, because you as the audience saw Omni-Man kill those people. You know what's up, yet you still like you as the audience member, because it wasn't explicitly told to you why he did that, or even if you're not even sure if it was him, or like you're not sure if he's mind controlled or whatever, you're still like, we understand why Cecil wants him dead, but we're not sure if we want Omni-Man dead, even though we saw him do it.
Right.
So like we kind of empathize with both sides, and like Cecil kind of going crazy, like but betraying people left and right, like being all secretive and stuff. It's like you completely get it, and I it's good.
I think like Cecil and the whole like government secret thing or UG or whatever it is, I forget what the thing is, but it's like I think they're done very well because it's like, obviously they understand certain situations they are not equipped for, but at the same time, we're not just going to sit here and get overrun by superheroes. We have to figure things out. But they're smart about it. They're not just going to walk up to Omni-Man and be like, hey, man, we don't like you, because then he's going to, throw you into space. So you have to, like, think about it. You got to work around it, stuff like that. And I like how they kind of build that up. They, like, continue to, like, like they surveil, they have surveillance across the street. They have things, they have, Darkblood's doing his thing. Like, they have all this, like, also Darkblood is, like, the Question and Edrian kind of mixed together, which I think is really
voiced by Mr. Krabs.
Right? Of course, because nothing says awesome like Mr. Krabs is a demonic detective.
I love the little, like, as they're talking, like you see the, like, their breath start to, like, you can see their breath, and then like you before the other characters in the room that he's coming, and that's
right. It's kind of like the Danny Phantom thing, but like less obvious.
Right.
I thought that was kind of interesting because they don't like stop the show to show you, like you just kind of notice it, and you're like, oh, cool.
Yeah, and also like it makes complete sense why Cecil would want to go ahead and try to create a new Guardians of the Globe, but then, like, because they're just kind of thrown together, it would also make sense that they don't really work well as a team, and like that.
No, they kind of, they more or less they kind of suck compared to the originals, and it makes sense. Like you said, like half of them are like the team or whatever, and the other half are just random supers from wherever. And I think that's really good because, like, again, like, if you just lose all your best superheroes, you don't just have people on standby like that. Like, just to figure things out. But and I think kind of relating into that thing I like about the show is that, like, if you are not the best person, if you're not the best fighter in the room, you will lose in this show. Straight up. Constantly. There is no Deus Ex Machina in this show. There is no, like, it don't matter. If somebody is bigger than you, you just gonna have a bad day. Like, it's like, there's no,
except for this show does such a good job because they kind of did that in episode 2 when team,
I believe, yes.
Yeah. TT, it was and Mark was fighting off those alien invaders, and they kept coming back stronger and stronger to the point where they just couldn't deal with them anymore. And then Omni-Man came in, saved the day, killed the whole planet, blah blah blah.
Details, genocide.
Like, so you kind of get the idea that if Mark can't take on something, then Omni-Man or some other hero might come in later. Until he doesn't.
Right. Like, and it was the scene with, I forget the guy, Battle Beast, I believe. Yeah. Beast. And like, I love how they set it up. The team shows up and they immediately get clapped. Like, there was no, like, you did not feel any redemption. Like they got there and were just in their
They even did the thing where, like, they all came in, like, they weren't working well as a team together, and they saw someone get injured. They're like, okay, we need to, like, get together, we need to work as a team, and they do, and they still get beaten.
I know. I thought that was great, because, like, that would be such the, like, Saturday morning cartoon thing, like, oh, we rally now, we're serious now, and then we prevail. It's like, no, like, just because you feel upset does not mean you're better than me. Stay down. And I love how, like, they have multiple efforts of doing it, and then after, like, the second or third time, they just stop.
Yeah.
They just kind of like, you know what? Like, after, like, the first time Mark goes down, it sucks. And then Battleship Row goes down. And then Black Sansa goes down. And they're like, okay, I don't feel like dying today, so we're just gonna let this go.
It's like,
which again, kind of, yeah, is kind of how that, because again, and I like these heroes too, especially the team, because like they're not these like self-righteous, oh, we're gonna save the world. Like they kind of stink. They're kind of like bad. They're not really good people. They kind of just suck. Like, especially Rex, which I love his character, but you know that guy. He sucks. That guy is we all know, we all have a Rex in our lives that you're just like, oh, this guy, of course he gets powers, even though he does not deserve them. No. But like, it's so cool because like, yeah, they're like, you know what? They like, even when they were like, oh yeah, we could have saved more people. They're like, who cares? We did a good job. Like the most like not heroic thing ever. They're like, as long as I get paid, pretty much. Like, and I get it, because not every hero is going to be super heroic and like, yes, save all the people and whatever. It's like, look, I'm awesome. I got superpowers. I do stuff. Like, fight me. And
and like I said before, the show is so good at subverting expectations. Like them barging in to take on Machine Head, and then him bringing in all the other villains. It would be like Batman going to the Penguin. And Penguin being like, aha, Batman, I knew you'd show up, so I got a little help. And then like Deadshot, Killer, Captain Cold, maybe Clayface, like, a couple of, B to A tier villains. And then also freaking Lobo. It's just
but like, you don't know it at the time.
You don't know. You think he's just like another big dude, like a Solomon Grundy level. Like,
he is not just a goon.
No.
He can run his own planet if he feels like it. Like
and like he wasn't emphasized at all until he started just clobbering Invincible, and then also clobbering Monster Girl, and like
everyone got it. Like didn't care, and like it was just crazy because like. Even when other, when people were dropping on both sides, and like you just see him, he's just covered in everyone's blood.
Yep.
And he's just like casual.
And he just like leaves because like this is boring me.
Right.
And if Omni-Man had come in and actually had like saved Mark in that moment and actually beaten Battle Beast, that would kind of lessen the impact of like impact for the future, because like Battle Beast is clearly going to be like a main a major villain for the future. So it's like if Omni-Man can just come down and beat this guy, I just feel like that would kind of scale down like what's out there. Like there's nothing out there that could beat Omni-Man. So like I don't know how I would feel about that, but because we haven't actually seen that fight yet, we just know that he Battle Beast was able to pretty handily beat a kind of like a weaker Mark. Their rematch is going to be really fun.
Yeah, but I still don't think it's gonna matter, dude. Battle Beast just like was so casual about just like, I own this whole place. I don't care. Like I don't care who you are, what you're from. Get clapped. Like
I'm just a minion here, but like I could beat all the other guys that he summoned here easily.
Yeah, which is so weird. Like I'm so weird how the strongest dude in the room was so good with being a subordinate. And it's just kind of like, by choice. It wasn't like he's stupid or anything. He just kind of like, I'm just here he's like, I'm just here because you promised I could fight strong people. Like,
yeah. And when
and
they weren't
he's
strong
like,
people
there's no
fight,
strong
he left.
people. Yeah, and he's like, forget it. Like, it's just like, wow.
And then I love how the guy that Mark had teamed up with, the villain who turned himself to rock. Like once he got his opportunity to take over, he did. Like
and I love how he planned that whole thing. I thought that was really, because again, you expected things to go wrong, but you expected it to go wrong a different way, pretty much.
Yeah.
You expect it to be like, oh yeah, like the whole, I saw this whole thing coming. Yeah, that was expected. But you didn't expect that it was Titan's idea the whole time, and then Machine Head gets taken in and betrayed by or Isotope, I think is his guy. So there's some cool names in the show. But like, he gets betrayed, and then he takes over. He's the new crime kingpin, more or less. So, I didn't see that coming at all. I thought that was great.
Yeah, like like every single episode I felt was not necessarily better than the last, but like there wasn't really an episode aside of maybe the one where he went to Mars. That was like kind of maybe the weakest link because it at least
Yeah,
didn't add much right now, but maybe in the future once
that's
that
what I'm
actually comes
thinking.
back,
Like, yeah,
it'll
that like Starro kind of thing
yeah.
really is gonna cause some problems.
Mhm. um, before we get much further in the timeline, what is your opinion of Amber?
Oh man. Oh gosh. Okay. I liked Amber up until the second to last episode because
Yeah.
that I I know they're trying to be different by like, oh, she knew the whole time, but that is terrible. That makes no sense. That is the
Yeah.
only thing that made no sense. But then I'm like, okay, but then again, she is a high schooler, and in high school, stupid stuff is important. Like, so like,
True.
but yeah,
Like
not a fan.
this show has been so good about subverting expectations on every single turn, except for this one where it's just
Yeah.
the the girlfriend who doesn't know but finds out, and like they don't even really like I've seen, I guess the way she reacted was something new, but it didn't like it didn't end up really mattering. I was kind of hoping she had just, if she had said she had known the whole time, that would have been something different. But because she was like, "Oh, I found out a week ago," that just kind of, I don't know. That essentially what I'm trying to get is, I don't think this show needed a romance subplot to like
Mm-hmm.
for me to be invested in it. I think everything else going on was plenty.
Oh yeah,
You didn't need for him
absolutely.
and Eve to do anything. You didn't need for anybody to like, aside from maybe the friend, like sure, like Nick him, like that. I think that's fine, but nothing. I don't think Mark needed a romantic interest for me to really get invested. But like the way they did it was pretty middle of the road for superhero stuff. It was like it's fine, but for this show, I kind of expected more for that aspect of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's weird. Yeah, and I guess it was just kind of, yeah, it felt very kind of illogical because it was kind of just like that. No, you didn't. You like you if you know, like, because like when you think about it, you're like, if you had known, you wouldn't be upset, because even if you're upset that he didn't tell you the truth, like what was he supposed to do? Just watch you all get murdered like
Yeah.
multiple times? Like especially the one with the like robot or android things or whatever. Like I mean, he was literally about to rip his friend's head off, pretty much. And what,
Like,
you expect him to just like watch?
I
Like,
guess if he had told Amber earlier that he was invincible, then maybe she wouldn't be as mad. But
but you wouldn't do that. I mean,
no, you're right.
they said they've only been dating for 5 months, which, like, don't get me wrong, I know relationships are different, but like this is a high school relationship. I just became a superhero, and like rule number one is secret identities. And if I give you my identity, that probably gives you other people's identities also.
Yeah.
So it's not really just my secret to tell anyway.
Like, especially in a show or universe where Adam, Eve, and Omni-Man have secret identities.
And yet no
faces
face coverings whatsoever. Like I think it's hilarious. I think that's hilarious that like they just don't.
Like I thought for sure Eve just didn't care that people knew who she was. But no, at the end of episode 8, she was like, "Oh, by the way, I'm Adam Eve," and they were like, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah."
Like, you're the multiplying girl, right? No, that's not, I love when shows do that. They're like, "Oh, you're the other one." No, I'm not that one.
Like, she doesn't like change up her face, even though she theoretically could because her powers are OP. But like,
they are.
Yeah, and like, yeah, Omni-Man doesn't shave his mustache or put on glasses or anything.
He looks exactly the same. And I love William's reaction. He's just like, how did I not see that? Like, it's like, yeah, like granted, you're just like, that makes no sense. I didn't see that, but like, he wears no distinction. He has the exact same voice.
Yep.
The only difference is he doesn't float. Like, like that's the only difference. If you just saw him 1 inch off the ground, you'd be like, Omni-Man, oh wait, Mark's dad? What are you doing here? like There's
Exactly.
no difference whatsoever. So that's which I kind of like because I like it because it's just like, you know what, we're not gonna make this super complicated. Like we know they have secret identities. It's a kitchen. It's like, who cares? Like just roll with it. It's a comic book show. Like we know it doesn't always make sense. It doesn't add up, but we're just going with it.
Yeah, it's whatever. Like essentially, it's the type of show where like all the good things about it outweigh the like nitpicks every single time. Like the animation isn't perfect. There were a couple times that people are flying and it looks like they just took a sticker and just kind of moved it up and down. Or like, you know, it can be a little framing at times, but like that, it happened. Like, you know, not every single episode is going to have the highest budget. That's fine. Not every single character sold me completely. But everything that I loved about it, I feel like it like surpassed a lot of other superhero shows that I've seen. It's good.
Yeah, very easily. Yeah, and like nitpicks exist, but like, you know, like the only things were like, you know, I feel like some of the characters for like the new Guardians, I still don't know anything. Like the Ant-Man chick, I still know nothing about her.
No.
Other than that her and Monster Girl are both voiced by Grey Griffin, which is fine because I love Grey, but still like, oh, that's gonna get annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, we still don't really know what Black Samson's powers are. I assume just like super strength.
But... yeah, like he like lifted some rubble, but like other than that, I mean, assuming his name is like relevant, I just assume it's super strength. But
yeah, like, that would make sense.
Right, but like, yeah, they haven't really explained anything about his powers. And then, yeah, I mean, I don't know. What did you think about the whole robot thing?
Oh, I think I personally really liked that little subplot with the like clone twins.
Yeah, I think it's a jail, but great concept. Yes,
actually, robot.
You're the clone. I'm the original. Like, I'm gonna start using that. If I had a twin, I would use that all the time. Like, I would use that constantly if I had a twin. Oh like, my god.
I don't know, just like that. I think because I did a little bit of digging like about like how the show differed from the comics, and it does seem like the first season has a lot of like pulled a lot from future chapters and brought them in, which I think it did it flawlessly. Like every single thing they added, they used to the fullest extent. They flowed very well into the main plot. Like I felt they did it very well, and that includes the robot stuff. I think that was like that it doesn't even happen anywhere near here, but I think it flowed very well. Like, you know, this team is just starting to come together. Robot Man is starting, or Robot Man is the guy from Doom Patrol. Robot. You know, he like finally found somebody that he actually cares about. You know, he doesn't like seem to know what that emotion is because it's a robot, but like I think that flows very well with this new team dynamic. And then like everything with like with the clone twins. I love Kevin Michael Richardson, so like I'm not at all upset when he shows up ever in shows like this, but I just really like their dynamic. But I didn't like understand at first that he was putting his mind into a 10-year-old version of Rexplosion. I didn't get that until it was explicitly said in the episode.
Yeah. I didn't get it. Which was interesting because I didn't get. My brother got it immediately, which I thought was interesting because he was like, "Oh my gosh, that's that guy," and I was like, "How did you get that without even like?" Because like, granted, he does look like him when you hear, but like, if I was just like, "Oh, robot just kind of looks like that as a human." Yeah, I was just kind of like, "Okay, cool."
It makes sense why he would, because Monster Girl is a 12-year-old girl now and getting younger by the minute. So it makes sense that he would do that. But like, I didn't piece that together. I didn't even like consider the fact that he had got some of his blood earlier.
You kind of forgot about that because he totally does the like obvious.
Like originally, I was thinking that he was using the the clone twins to like I was under the impression that Robot was gonna like get a DNA sample of each of the new Guardians and then like create like a superhuman.
Okay.
I think what they did was more interesting. What they did was a lot more interesting.
Yeah, that was way better. I thought he was gonna like make like a kind of like, I don't know if you saw the Judas Contract movie, but like kind of with Brother Blood, kind of took all their powers into one body.
Right.
I thought something like that was gonna happen, and he could like multiply, but also have super strength and stuff, and like that would have been kind of interesting. But yeah, I really like this dynamic too, because, and I like how everyone was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like nobody was like, oh yeah, I get it. Everyone was like, you're insane.
Yeah. Even Monster Girl was like, I need to process this. Just let me.
Yeah. What is the guy? I forget what is the guy's name who voices Rex Plor. I forget his real name, but I know he's in like everything.
It's a very long.
Yeah, but I know, but dude is anytime he's ranting,
Adrian Pimento.
Yes, Adrian Pimento in and everything he's in, whenever he's ranting, it's hilarious.
Yeah,
like he's just like, why me? Like I get it, I know me, but why me to a kid version of me? That's just weird. And also, like he's like so. He's so, but like it's funny because like you hate his kid, like you know that guy, you don't like that guy, but like he's right in this context, so you're like with him. You're like, no, that's messed up. That's not cool. Like, and I don't know. I thought that was a great sequence, and I don't know. It's just there's a lot of interesting like sub stuff that goes on in this show, but the main premise, which is like, okay, what's up with it's like Mark becoming a superhero, and then there's like Omni-Man secretly is potentially a threat. And there's a bunch of other sub stuff that's really interesting because I really,
I like ties together so well per episode.
Yes,
like
because it's all just enough connected, and it kind of reaches together, and it's like
I think this show perfectly utilizes the 44-ish minute time period it has, because if it were split into, if it were a 16 episode, 22-ish minute episode season, I don't think it would have been nearly as effective, because you would have, like, let's say, episode 7, for example, you have the whole Omni-Man, versus Cecil stuff, which we'll get to more in a second. Like that would be its whole episode.
Right.
And then the B plot of that episode was Robot becoming human. If that were the whole episode, I maybe would have thought a little less of it. Probably would have gotten a little more bored of that stuff. I wouldn't have found it as interesting. But because they were able to cut between that and the Omni-Man stuff so seamlessly, and then tie them together well, with the twins, bringing in the Immortal and everything.
Well, again, react exactly how I would react if I had just got killed by somebody. Immediately go after them. Granted, how he found him so quickly is a little like,
You can move fast.
But yeah, it's like, but it's like cool. We don't know all his powers. Maybe he can superhero or something. Like, who knows? Yeah. But I love how he just kind of like instantly like on sight, I'm gonna kill this dude. It was like that is the correct response to that situation.
But also, if you had the entire episode just be the Omni-Man gauntlet, it might have gotten just a little tiring after.
Yeah, it wouldn't have the same impact.
Yeah, but it was done very well. And then I loved how, like you said earlier, every single character in the show reacts exactly how you would expect them to react. Like we didn't even talk about the fact that when William like realized Mark, like he saw his bottom of his chin for half a second, he was like, Mark, you're
right,
invincible. Oh, okay.
He's not like stupid, like, no, I couldn't be Mark. Like he knows his friend well enough that he looks him square in the face, even though he's wearing like a cheap not cheap costume, but like wearing like half a mask.
Yeah.
Even though he still has his hair, his like bottom of his mouth. He's like, that's him, obviously. Yeah. Like he's not stupid. Like, yeah, he gets it. And like, yeah, and immediately he's dumb. He's like, take me flying. Like,
yep. That's
yeah. It's like, yeah, I would have probably said that too.
Yeah, but during the while Cecil's trying his hardest to take out Omni-Man, he keeps like checking in with the new Guardians, and he's like, stay right there in case we need you guys to try to deal with Omni-Man next. And he's like, us deal with Omni-Man? Wait, I have a feeling I know what happened to the last guys that had to deal with Omni-Man.
Well, and I was like, Ooh.
Instantly put it together. Like that's so.
Yeah, they're not dumb, which is great, but they're also like, oh crap, because like they kind of also know the other Guardians were way better than they are, and they're all puddles.
Yeah.
So this could be a problem.
Yeah, and oh my goodness, that like episode 7 is peak superhero goodness right there. Like not only do you have the secret shady government organization going after the main villain, you have like secrets revealed everywhere. You have giant kaiju fights, like just
again.
Like, didn't you already kill this thing? I did. It's stronger now.
Yeah. Yeah. I like how they brought the little the android things back with the guy who's not they still have them in this next
again
race
that was a thing that happens. I believe that happens later in the series, but because they went ahead and introduced them in an earlier episode, they're like, let's just use these again now, and they're like,
right,
yeah, they
might as well
just add one more extra thing to try to take them down. It's not going to work, but might as well try.
Right, it's like it'll buy us, and I always love how Cecil every time is just kind of like it'll buy us some time. Like he knows the whole time you can't really beat him. It's kind of more just like
best case scenario, it'll just knock him out for a couple of minutes, or it'll do absolutely nothing.
He's kind of like, $400 billion for the world's most expensive nosebleed. He has the whole.
I loved, honestly, like my favorite interaction outside of the him versus Immortal fight was when Cecil himself was just trying to talk to him.
Yeah.
Like, him just like teleporting around was just like he knew he wouldn't stand a chance, but him just having the balls to just like be there, to the point where when Omni-Man actually like almost got him, it wasn't just like Cecil got away and like his tie was gone. His tie was like, just from the friction alone of Omni-Man like grabbing it, his tie was on fire. Like he would have been gone.
First off, whoever does the teleporter needs a raise, because that thing was insane. Because that stuff was, he like threw a rock at him at super speed.
Yeah, like he was like
a millisecond from just
like microseconds away from like just
instantly disintegration. Like it would have been, oh my gosh, man, like it was so, and I love how just the whole time she's like, oh man, like he's like still talking junk the whole time. And he's like, oh, am I right for the throat, man, after all we've been through? It's like, bro,
but like you don't necessarily want Cecil to win, because this show has made you like Omni-Man so much, even though he killed the old Guardians. But at the same time, like he killed the old Guardians, so you kind of why Cecil's doing this,
right?
But like you're still thinking maybe there's some other reason why he did this, or maybe there's some greater plan here or something.
Yeah, it's like, and I like when I think it is in that same episode, I like the scene where like Debbie and Omni-Man are talking, and she's like, he's like, you say you have a good reason, but you say you want to tell me, but you still haven't told me your reason. And I'm like, exactly. Thank you. Because it's like the whole time we're just like, he's like, you have to trust me. It's like, you can't just say you have to trust me after doing something that horrible and being like, it's okay though. You have to give like the best excuse ever.
Come on.
which is not trust me, by the way. I love how the whole time she's just like, that's not good enough. Like,
that's completely fair,
she's not like, well, if he has a good no, she's very much like, are you insane? Like, what is wrong with you? Like,
and I love how she never like she kind of figured out that he did something like completely on her own. Like she found the suit. She went to Mark Hamill about it. Like and there wasn't really any time in between her finding out and like getting mad at Omni-Man. Immediately it was just like, why, like, I found out, why did you kill him? She didn't like try to talk to him about it or anything, just immediately mad. Like I get it completely. That like
and
it's
I love
always
how he never tries to like deny it or anything. He's just kind of like, I had a good, like you know how you just know someone's guilty when they just like at no point did he say I didn't do it. He was kind of just like, I don't know what happened. It's like that's you kind of just like taking the fifth here. Like it's not really a good way to go, but It's like
I
innocent until
love so
proven
much
guilty, I guess.
how Cecil's plan to try to take out Omni-Man never even for a second included the Immortal. That wasn't even like
No.
in his, that wasn't anywhere near there. But like when he showed up, Cecil was probably like, all right, let's use this.
Yeah, he's like, cool, that's another 10 minutes. Like, yeah.
And like, like it probably should have been part of his plan since he was so easy to just put back together because he's immortal. But
yeah, but I mean,
but like, and they're, you know, as of episode 8, we know that he's gonna try to use them again later if necessary. But like, I just it, at first, like in the first episode, I was a little annoyed at there basically being two different Superman allegories in both Omni-Man and the Immortal. They both can fly and have super strength, super speed, etc. But like, I like when two strong characters like that fight. It's just, it's, I'm a sucker for that type of stuff.
it's awesome.
Any single time in anything ever when two characters of similar strength punch each other and a shockwave comes out and just fills the whole screen. Like
Yep,
it's great. It's so great.
Yeah, and I love how like even though they're all superpowered, they still like fight. Like it kind of, you know, they're like they're not just like, you know, punch, but like it's they're thinking it through. They're trying to fight each other.
Yes, like in the first episode when Omni-Man takes out the Guardians, I appreciate so much how it wasn't just Omni-Man wins. Like it was actually a struggle on all parts. Like, you know, like he even kind of struggled to shake off the Martian guy. Like now he took several like hard blows throughout that. Like it wasn't just an easy fight. Whereas in the comics, you know, all the Guardians get together and then the lights go out and then instantly is just like, what is going on? And then instantly it's just like panel of just death. Like instantly, like he's moving so fast they can't see him kill them. And then Immortal is like who are you, what are you, you know, like why are you doing this? And then turns around and then is like Omni, or he doesn't actually say Omni-Man, but like you, and then thing gets killed. We like the audience member reading the comic doesn't ever actually see Omni-Man doing it. We find out later that he does in the comics. I think it works even better now. Like, because in the comics, you like it was pretty easy to figure out it was Omni-Man anyway. Like here, knowing it's him, knowing exactly who did it, how strong the other Guardians were, how much damage he took, and then, but still almost being on his side, like not letting up for a second when he's training Mark, you still have that in the back of your head, but you're not like thinking about it. Like that's I think that's so good. Like it serves the same purpose as not showing it, but does it even better.
Yeah, it's so, yeah, and it's just really smart how they do it. And it's just like, you know, the whole time theoretically Omni-Man's the bad guy, but it's like, you know, you like in the back of your like, okay, but there's got to be a good, you know, like you kind of start believing there's got to be a good reason, and then there's not.
I mean, it is in a
way. I mean, that's like, I mean, kind of, but like not really.
Like when our brother and I, you know, we talk about this show a whole lot. We love it's good. He essentially like broke it down as Omni-Man's speech towards Mark is essentially like the pitch meeting for the entire comic. Like it's not just a Superman is evil, that is the plot. Like The Boys really is that. Like what if the Justice League were evil? Like it's way more nuanced than that. It's like essentially, I kind of added on after that. Essentially, this story is what if Zod had actually won in his little, like, originally Zod had won and taken over Krypton and then, you know, spread out for the rest of the galaxy. Like what if Zod had came to Earth before Superman even like came here? I think Omni-Man is going by a slightly different way, but like generally that is the idea here. And I think like only the strong can survive. Only, every empire should be Kryptonian, or Kryptonian allegory. Like it just, I think it maybe could have been explained slightly better or slightly less insanely.
Yeah, but you could tell, like, that kind of makes sense because he's never really had to explain it. And also, you kind of feel like he doesn't really totally believe it himself.
Yeah.
He kind of just like, that's all I've ever known. So he's kind of just like, it's weird for him that Mark doesn't get it because like he's never had to explain it to anyone.
Yeah, like that happens to me all the time, and like I know something, I've done something my entire life. Then if someone asks me how do you do this, I'm like, let me just do it. I can't.
Yeah, I can't. It would be harder for me to explain it than to just do it myself.
Yeah, because it kind of the reason I said that is because when Omni-Man is telling Mark what's up, there is a huge leap between him being like, only the strongest of the Empire were left, and then we thought that the Voltrum Empire should be the only empire. Like there was a huge leap between only the stronger left. Well, everyone should be a Voltrumites, whatever. Like that just like that. It does kind of feel like there's something that even Omni-Man doesn't either know or doesn't fully understand there.
Right.
And I think once we start kind of getting more Voltrumites coming later on, which is like everyone in that lineup, like that one girl, the one cable looking guy, like all of those. Yeah,
man. What are we gonna do? We're not ready. We don't have enough Earth. There's no way.
And I think this show perfectly utilizes the gore aspect of it. Like this show, if you have a weak stomach, don't watch this show. Like either get over it or just don't watch the show. Because even by the end of episode 1, it is super bloody. But it's not the type of thing where like people just, where it's just kind of bloody for no reason. One slight issue I have with the Harley Quinn show is that there's a lot of gratuitous violence. I still really love that show, but I think it goes a little overboard with that violence.
Yeah, it does.
9 times out of 10 in Invincible, the violence has a purpose. Either it's just like random civilians getting killed off for no reason during alien invasion. Invincible getting the crap beat out of them every single episode, but like it can take it, so it's okay to kind of show more blood, especially during Omni-Man versus Invincible's fight, like just Omni-Man pushing Mark through that train.
Okay, look, I have seen through like cartoon anime, like a lot of stuff. That might be one of the brutalest things I've ever seen in my life, because it's like literally you are not human. You are strong enough that this train is gonna destroy itself and everyone in it.
Yeah, any person that runs into you explodes.
It's like, imagine like him, like people touching his body and just basically disintegrating, ripping apart, and he saw all of that.
Yeah,
like it was when the building came down, that was one thing, but the train thing, I was like, I can't deal with. Like, I had to pause it. I was like, dude, I can't deal with it. That was,
but like that, but that actually served a purpose. Omni-Man was showing him these people mean nothing. You are stronger than them. Like they were gonna die soon, anyway. So
right? Which that was crazy. Apparently, it was like thousands of years. I did not see that coming.
No, which makes me wonder just how long did Omni-Man stay on that other alien planet to grow a beard by the end of it, if he ages so differently?
Right, because they age so rapidly there. But then he could just shave or whatever, and it's like he doesn't even.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And like, like that. It wasn't like a great fight mostly because Omni-Man just destroyed Mark, but like that was the point. Like even after everything Cecil threw at him, plus Mark still just couldn't even come close.
And like you kind of knew, it's like one of those things, you kind of knew it because you were like, okay, nothing in this show has said that Mark has even the slightest chance.
Yep.
And you kind of knew it, but in the back of your head, you're like, okay, it is the finale, so maybe he gets some like Deus Ex Machina. No, he does not.
Like deals emotional damage, but not nothing physical.
He got, I mean, destroyed. And like, I mean, this guy, I mean, he got put in the ground like basically 3 times, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Like it was the type of thing where like I'm sure Omni-Man was holding back. I'm sure he was pulling his punches a little bit. Like if he wanted to kill Mark, he would have done it in like 2 punches.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I don't like the amount of power this guy has. Like the scene where he punches him on a mountain to the point that the punch goes through Mark and still causes an avalanche that kills a whole village of people. Just like, wow. Like, good Lord.
Oh, goodness. And just J.K. Simmons, like I never even for a second questioned his casting as Omni-Man, but during his speech at the beginning of that episode and his like rant at the end of the episode when he was like, "Think, Mark, like what are you doing fighting for
You're making me do this." Like,
yeah. That like he was the right choice. No one else could have put that much just epicness into that performance.
Because like, dude, I don't know, man. Like, I know, like at that point he's full blown evil, but you're like, maybe he's got a point, you know? Like you're like, God, like.
And I liked how once he turned evil, like they just went all in on, like he tried to convince Mark because he knows that Mark is one of him, but like he never tried to like, he was just randomly mercilessly killing people left and right, just
the pilot's head or whatever, just like, oh my, like just because, for what? Just because, like he's like, why'd you save him? This was that. Oh my god! Like first of all, Mark needs therapy for the rest of his life. First, of all, after all that, like that is.
And Mark was even trying to reason with Omni-Man. It's like, I've seen you save people hundreds of times. Like, why are these people any different?
Oh my god! Which does beg the question: why is Omni-Man a hero?
My guess is essentially like he kind of put on the facade of a hero so that when the Viltrumite Empire gets here, they'll be more accepting of their aid. Like that was what his plan was up till this point. Like I'm gonna kill the Guardians without anyone knowing, just so they won't put up a resistance. But then once the Viltrumites get here, there won't be any resistance because they'll just like accept, like, oh, they're one of Omni-Man, so yeah,
more Omni-Man people.
But now that the cat's out of the bag, he's just like, who cares? So like,
yeah, it's true, but it's kind of like, I mean, there's no reason not to just dude, that's so crazy how he just flips on. But it kind of does make sense because if you're like a billion years old or whatever, you kind of just like, especially with like, fragile humans or whatever, he's like, I mean, it's trivial anyway. And he's like, what about mom? She bad? He's like, I mean, not really. She's kind of upset. I was like, oh my goodness.
Like literally, I was like, don't say it. I know you're gonna say it. Don't. Oh, he said it.
I was like, wow. I was just being like, oh no. Like that was so crazy. I was just like, he just it's crazy because he just like you say, he just flipped the script completely. He just like, like you kind of knew something was up, but you didn't feel like scary until episode. He's just like, you know what? Forget it. I don't even care anymore. I thought it was interesting too because he when he's doing his rampage, he makes sure Mark's involved. Like he knocks Mark through the building that crushes the whole city. He uses Mark to destroy the subway. Like he flies Mark through the ocean through a cruise ship.
For no reason. Did not need to do.
No, he is like specifically looked for the most people he could to do that. He obviously didn't have to do that. But he flows through a cruise ship in the ocean just to kill just to get the body damage down. So it's just like it's symbolic to it, but it's just like, that's so evil.
but Mark was able to, like, at the end of the fight, like kind of pull just that little bit of humanity out of him. And like I personally don't really want Omni-Man to like have a redemption arc later in the series. I maybe at the very end of his run, him make some kind of sacrifice play and blow up with some other, do some sacrifice at the very end. But I don't, especially after just the him going completely insane, or I guess revealing he's been insane. I don't want him to like come back to Earth and he's good,
No, and the world would never accept that either, because after what he just did,
no.
I mean, you can't tell me after what he, I think it was Chicago or whatever, but it's like he literally just did the equivalent of first of all, he killed all the world's greatest heroes.
Yep.
Lied about it, wrecked the whole city, that subway, all this stuff casually. You can't come back from that. I don't care who you are. Even if you saved the world, you can't come back from that. It's one thing when when it's Hawk Girl in Justice League and it's like, okay, if you help us get out of it, maybe we'll think about it. Here it's like, nah, you're too far gone. I think even if he does help out, if there's a Voltron invasion or whatever, I don't think you're just reaccepted. I think you're like, thank you, but no thanks.
Yeah. But maybe the show will surprise us. Maybe we'll actually do that, but it'll do it in a clever way.
I don't know, because it's J.K. Simmons, so he's gonna be back. Because you don't put J.K. Simmons as somebody for one season.
Yeah.
Unless they subvert our expectations again.
Yeah.
He just doesn't come. I'm thinking he's gonna be gone and then just one day show up and be like, oh snap. Yeah. But
yeah, and luckily we do have 2 more seasons to
exactly. I think because as I alluded to, kind of when he's which I love the Seth Rogen scene, both of them, where he's just kind of talking to the guy, pulls up a rock, and he's kind of just so what do you think about doing? And it has every plot point and villain we haven't seen in a while,
plus some more,
yeah, exactly. All this extra stuff going on, and it's well, now we know what we're gonna be doing next season. And he's like, I'll probably just finish high school.
Yeah.
What's high school? Yeah, good luck with that. But no, I think
I am super excited for season 2. I know it'll be a year from now, but fine, take your time with it. Put as much money, time, and effort into this to make it look even better. Because like I said, the animation quality could be a little better. And I think it'll just go up every season. So
that's what I'm thinking. I think they're gonna get a big budget increase because this first season killed it.
Yeah.
So I think
and the fact that they went ahead and secured 2 more seasons shows
right.
You has faith in it.
So I don't think I've ever seen that before.
There are some times when early in a season they'll go ahead and greenlight the next season. I know Flash season 8 was greenlit 2 episodes into season 7. I don't know who's still watching with the Flash, whatever.
Fair enough. But yeah, it's they're and granted there are short seasons, they're 8 episodes, but still, that's still really impressive in my opinion. I'm excited. I am a little worried because at the end of episode 8, it kind of seemed like they were kind of do a team Invincible thing where they have the 2 non-super powered friends in the group and they're gonna help supposedly, which I'm oh.
We'll see about that. Again, they could do it for just 1 episode and then one of them die or something
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I like William. I think he's very funny and relatable in how he reacts to things. But yeah, Amber, I'm not huge. I still kind of don't understand Amber a ton, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm excited to see where they go future. I'm hoping the Guardians get better. They get a kind of a boost in the next episode. They're actually pretty solid because again they kind of seem kind of not trash, but just not nearly good enough. At least for this.
Yeah, there were several people who tried out for the team that I felt were just better than the ones that got in.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know.
But
yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah. I'm very excited. I've never seen a show, I've never been not interested in a show, watched 1 clip of it on YouTube, being I'll check this out. Watched it, and instantly it become one of my new favorite shows. It is, as long as season 2 and 3 keep very similar, if not better quality, top 10 for sure. Like it is very good.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely be really good. So I'm sold.
Yep. So yeah, moving on to a different superhero show that just ended recently that we need to review. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now I think I said this during our WandaVision review, but like, can Marvel just miss one time? Can we just get one show or movie where it's like that wasn't very good? Because they're all good. Like you know, it's the cliche, but the Marvel thing was good.
Yeah. And I think honestly, I think WandaVision coming out made Falcon Winter Soldier even better because you kind of missed the whole like, you know, about that action kind of vibe. Because WandaVision, granted, had seen, but like it was more mystery, more what's going on here. Here it was like, all right, here's what we got to do. We're about to go crack some heads. Like,
yeah, like I don't even have like a whole like I don't have like a list or anything I want to talk about per se, but like it's just it was just very good. Like there were a couple of things here and there that I felt could have been fleshed out a little better. There were clearly reshoots, there were clearly cut content for time, or just like apparently there was like a whole pandemic subplot that was taken out because it was too close to reality or something, which I think they should have kept it in, but whatever. But overall, like every single character pretty much I really enjoyed Zemo quite a bit.
Yeah,
I liked Sharon a lot more than I thought I would, honestly.
Yes. Was way more interesting, like, because I admit I thought it was kind of weird because I had a hard time believing what Sharon Carter's a bad guy now. Oh, no way. And then by that I was like, oh my god, she's a bad guy now. Like, so like I thought she was a much more interesting character. And like, I really enjoyed that aspect. Like you said, Zemo was a lot of fun. And I also like how like they brought the Dora Milaje just kind of in, but they didn't overstay their welcome. They kind of showed up, got Zemo and left.
Yeah.
But also kicked some butt along the way, which I thought was awesome.
And I loved how like both Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they both like obviously they both dealt with very standard superhero stuff with, you know, super soldiers and other, you know, standard affair when it comes to superhero conflict, but they also had very personal conflicts that they had to deal with throughout the show. Like, you know, Bucky had to reconcile with his past. Sam, like symbolically having to build that boat, which also kind of like symbolized him kind of reconciling with becoming new Captain America, and just like kind of like just if this were a movie, like if this were just like a 2.5 hour movie, I think you wouldn't have had nearly as much time to ruminate on all the things that the show needed to do. Because I feel them physically, you know, having that 5-minute montage of them all coming together to build that boat back was super important for the overall narrative. But if they were in a movie, probably would have been shorter, yet it would have felt longer because you would really feel the time.
Right.
But because it's in a show, I just think it worked very well. I didn't love John Walker though. Like just as a character, I didn't love him. Like,
but is that the idea though?
Apparently, according to the showrunners, it's not. Like apparently, according to the showrunners, you're supposed to not hate him by the end.
Yeah, okay, I didn't get that because I thought he was that. I thought he was just like his character was basically this guy, because we all know that guy.
Yeah,
he's this guy. Like that was pretty much, and like you immediately didn't like him already because it was Captain America.
Yeah,
but it's like, okay, I'll give him a chance, and then he's immediately this guy. You're like, oh, okay, I hate this.
And
guy.
I love how like symbolically every person who is Captain America is like a different side of, you know, America. Steve Rogers is the very stereotypical blonde-haired, blue-eyed, you know, patriotic man with a plan type thing. Like that is what America strives to be. That is what America thinks himself to be. John Walker is basically like a cop, you know, who rather like, you know, punch people as opposed to like actually getting just brutalize people as opposed to actually trying to reason with them.
Right. Would rather just go guns a blazing than actually solve the problem.
Yeah, that's what America kind of is. And then Sam is over here, who more or less represents like what America kind of should be. Like it's kind of what we should strive to be. Not like obviously not just because he's a black man who is now Captain America, but like what he stands for, what he values, etc. It just all kind of came together in such a beautiful way, and I think that was really cool.
I think it was really interesting. I think it was kind of interesting how like although like Sam and Bucky had a lot of time together, they never really felt like bro. You know what I'm saying? It felt weird to me because like they always felt like the guys in the group who you're both friends with the guy who's not there.
Yeah.
And they never really like I thought they were gonna like get to that point where it's like, you're my guy now. We're best buds. Like they kind of did at the end, especially with the boat.
And
even then, it still felt not forced because like that's on purpose, but like it felt very like we're still trying to figure out our dynamic here. Like I thought that was interesting. It was kind of a change of pace. It's not we're just we're best friends now. It's like he's still from the 40s. Like we don't have things in common. Like
and but like this show clearly emphasized, and we'll get into even why more in a couple of minutes. But like the show clearly emphasized that even though they had their own show, they've been in movies before, their stories aren't done. Like Sam Wilson just became Captain America. Bucky is still called the Winter Soldier, but he's kind of reclaimed that title. He's going to go with that. Like they have time to build on that relationship even more in the future. And like after watching this show, I'm excited for Captain America 4. It's like the same guys who made the show were going to make that movie. Like, sure, why not?
Yeah. Now, I got to ask, what did you think about the whole villain thing?
The villains were fine. They really did feel like, even as far as like the show was concerned, it really did feel like the villains were there just to have conflict.
Yeah.
Like in episode 2, I think there wasn't really like a point where both Sam and Bucky like decided I'm gonna go take on the Flag Smashers. It was like Sam is like, oh, I'm gonna go investigate this, and then Bucky just kind of shows up, and then they just get on a plane and go. It really just kind of felt like, oh, like that's the villain. Let's go. Let's make the plot happen. And then their idea is really, really. It is cool to have this new force of evil super soldiers. Like that is a really cool idea, and I think it did work for a Captain America esque show. Their ideals and plans never really made a lot of sense to me. I think a lot of that is because of the reshoots and the cut content. Like why they were doing it was explained, but it felt a little.
It's like forced conflict. It was like you said, trying to just to have conflict. It was kind of like.
Yeah, like we never really got to know what exactly the GRC, I think it was called, like that organization, what exactly they were voting on, what exactly that would do. Even when the new Falcon guy, whatever his name is, remember his name? The
new Falcon guy?
The Hispanic guy who was just kind
of. Oh gosh, no, I have no idea what his name is. I know what you're talking about, but I don't
he becomes a Falcon later in the comics. That's what he was saying.
Oh, right, because he gave him the wings, right? I forgot about that.
Yeah. Even when he was explaining who the Flag Smashers were, he felt just very like nonchalant about it, just like,
Yeah.
oh, they're the Flag Smashers, you know, they wanted things to go back to as they were during the blip.
Like, your terrorist organization of the week kind of vibe.
Yeah. But like that's kind of par for the course with Marvel stuff. Like the villains are hardly ever the most interesting thing unless you're talking about Black Panther.
Or like Loki or something.
Yeah.
Like,
which Loki show is coming next month.
Yep.
Like I'm not gonna dock a Marvel thing that much because because the villains aren't the best. Like if the main characters nail it, if the supporting cast is good, if just the general plot is fine enough, it's a win. And I think this was a win. And like I think, yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I think it was pretty good. I like the new Captain America suit. I think that was very cool. I like how he still has the wings, because I was like, he's not gonna just give up the wings, is he? But it's like, okay, cool. He keeps the wings. The shield, I'm not gonna lie, the shield kind of feels kind of unnecessary.
So that actually does bring up a point that I want to talk about. Yes, and when you have vibranium wings and armor, why bother with the shield? But yeah, so one thing that irked me the entire show is the fact that the shield that the show is focused on, you know, the shield that has this legacy that all these different characters are fighting over, is not the same shield that we've seen throughout the MCU.
It was destroyed, right?
Yes, but it's not a thing where, like, you know, Captain America or Steve came back from the different dimension path, whatever, with like just a recreation of that shield. It has specifically different engravings on it. It's not even the same looking shield. It is, I know it's more of a symbol, but like the fact that it is a different item, it's not Steve's specific shield that we know and love. Kind of, I can't even really, like, it didn't ruin it.
Kind of ruins the symbolism in a way.
Yeah, it kind of ruined the symbolism a little bit. Like, I understand it doesn't really matter what the shield looks like. It like is a Captain America shield. It's red, white, and blue, you know, shield, whatever. But like the fact that it does have different engravings on it, the fact that it's not the original shield, just kind of, I don't know. Like it doesn't matter. But that just kind of, once I thought about that, I couldn't, like, it kind of lessened the impact of it specifically, and it was just a minor thing. I don't know.
Yeah, and I kind of got that too, because I was like, this shield is done, you know, has done all this. That's like, well, technically that shield's kind of like fresh out the box, but what it stands for.
Like, Isaiah Bradley never touched that shield. He never touched that shield. He probably had his own shield at some point, or was given, or maybe they found Captain America's shield on its own. I don't remember exactly, but like that shield specifically, Isaiah Bradley has no connection to. Like Steve barely even has a connection to it. So like, I don't know.
Yeah, he only has it to like give to.
Yeah, Falcon, maybe he used it in the other future past place. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. All I know is the original shield is like, ripped to shreds, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like a sliver left.
Yeah.
It's not really a shield anymore. That's what happens when you fight Thanos. But anyway.
Like, regardless of all that, the action in the show, it's Marvel action. It's good. Yeah. Loki catches everything thrown at him. It's great. Every single time. Like they utilize their different abilities and just very well. Like, you know, Sam uses his wings to their fullest potential. Bucky uses his metal arm. After John Walker gets his super soldier serum, like you don't see blood much in the MCU. Like outside of like a bloody nose every now and again, like from, or like, you know, like a couple of cuts here and there, you don't really see that much. But like the image of John Walker standing with the bloody shield, like full on, like that is, you know, obviously you don't see the person getting his chest beaten in, but like you see that person's blood.
And like him like almost posing with the bloody shield too. It's just kind of like, oh man.
Yeah.
And And it's interesting because that scene kind of reminds me of the scene in Black Panther where he's got Claw and all the people show up and they're like, whoa, hey, dude, not here. We don't. And then like obviously he picks, he chose the dark side version and just went in and killed the guy.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Like,
but also has a very clear allegory to Captain America fighting Iron Man.
Right.
As while Captain America just went for the arc reactor, he went for the kill.
Right.
And then, the three Captain Americas fighting in that warehouse was, again, just a very raw, good fight. And again, very analogous to Sam and Bucky, or I guess Steve and Bucky versus Iron Man. Very reminiscent of them in Infinity War when they were trying to get the Infinity Gauntlet off of Thanos, but they actually did this time.
Yeah, and like just kind of like just good, kind of rough but good fighting. It's kind of like it's not surgical. Like we're not like hit here, jump, kick, over, leg sweep. Like it's very like but like still like good stuff.
Yeah, like Sam and Bucky are clearly not really like a team yet, but they still looked out for each other. And I fully believe that if they both had the killer instinct or a killer intent that John did, then they would have beaten him more easily. But because John was going for the kill and they were just trying to subdue him, I think that's why John kind of had the upper edge most of the time. But like obviously, Sam and Bucky won in the end, but just shield bashing him. Like great.
Love that. Definitely. But definitely really good.
Yeah.
But
there was a little bit of like during the climax, there was like just a little bit of, I felt like an editing issue at times. Like when Sam was first fighting that Russian guy, German guy, whatever, like the French guy, the guy from the first episode who came back, that guy.
Yeah.
When he was fighting him, like Sam, like kind of beamed around a bit, like hit him with the shield, and the guy like got up, but then Sam left. He just like threw the shield and then left. Like you didn't win the fight, but you left anyway. And then when he's flying, chasing after that helicopter, he's chasing after that helicopter for a long time.
Yes, he is.
Like,
which kind of feels weird because like in the first episode, he kind of goes right after a helicopter in like 5 seconds.
Yeah. Maybe it's because it has hostages in it. He wants to be a little more careful, but
kind of be aloof, I guess.
I don't know. Like, I thought that could have been tightened up a little better. But like that happens sometimes, especially like I said, there were clearly some, like this had some time constraints because of the pandemic and a couple other things. So like I'm not mad at it, but it's fine, whatever.
Very good.
Yeah, it's just overall a very, very good show. Like I'm super excited for John Walker and Zemo to probably show up in the Thunderbolts project that's coming in the future, which hasn't been confirmed yet, but it's obviously happening. like a Suicide Squad, but Marvel stuff with characters we already know, like Ghost from Ant-Man 2. Lawrence Fishburne's character from Ant-Man 2 could also show up in there. Zemo, John Walker, whoever else. Like
we've got options.
Yeah, maybe even Justin Hammer or like whoever other random Iron Man villain you want to throw in there who hasn't died yet. Like,
random former Stark employee.
I just think that obviously Thunderbolt Ross potentially becoming Red Hulk at some point. I'm excited for Captain America 4. I'm excited for where the MCU is going in the future. Anything else you want to say about Falcon and Winter Soldier before we wrap up?
That's really good. I'm interested. Going forward. The biggest thing, it was kind of the conflict seemed a little. I'm interested to see where they go with Sharon Carter here because she is the power broker, so to speak. So it's kind of like okay, so like how grand is this gonna get? Is she gonna kind of stay bad behind? Because she's back, she's fully pardoned, back in the U.S., has all the shield stuff. Which is like, oh gosh, that's not good.
Yeah,
but like.
And again, that's probably going to lead straight into Armor Wars with her giving all these different companies and bad people access to American technology, including Iron Man tech. So that's going to be fun.
Oh man. this is gonna be good.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
I love how they're just always setting up stuff. There's never just content. It's always double. It's always more than one thing going
But
on.
generally speaking, it's very seamless. Like outside of like Age of Ultron, which that's just all the Infinity Gauntlet stuff was just like thrown in there last minute. So
Yeah.
like outside of that movie, it's more often than not very seamless. Like
yeah, just casually thrown in there.
Yeah. Speaking of the future of Marvel, Disney released like a little teaser that this past week that showcased, like it was like a kind of look back on what we've already seen the first 3 phases, and then also had a look forward at what's going to coming in the next couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
We got new release dates for Guardians 3, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumanium. I know that one is February of 2023. Guardians, I think, is July of 2023. We also got the official name and release date for Black Panther 2, officially called Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Yeah.
So I mean, if it ain't broke,
Wakanda Forever, July 8th, 2022. Yeah.
Mark's calendar.
Yeah, that I think that that name alone, you can already tell they're gonna do this right. They're not just gonna
just all right, next guy.
Yeah, I think they're. I don't want to talk too much about it. But they'll be fine. Yeah.
Like you said, they'll do the right thing.
They'll do it right. Yeah. We also got another tiny little stupid teaser for Fantastic Four, which is the number 4. They're at the end at some point in the future. It's coming.
Or it could just be for Captain America 4.
Could be.
I swear. No, no, it better be. Or it's just Phase 4. That's kind of what I thought. But
I mean, it could just be like Fantastic Four will end at Phase 4, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
But the other movie that we was officially named and released with a release date was Captain Marvel 2, which has officially been named The Marvels.
Yeah.
Releasing November 11th, 2022. What's your opinion of that new title change?
This could be interesting. I'll see where this goes. Because it's okay, so is this going to be Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel? Where are we going with this?
We already know Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel,
Monica
/ Spectrum is going to show up.
Which her powers were kind of cool in WandaVision. That was okay, I can roll with this. But now we're probably, we're not going to see her potentially to who knows when.
She might show up a little bit in Miss Marvel. She even could show up in the Eternals if Nick Fury does something. And I don't know.
Nick Fury's still just chilling in space. We still don't know what's up.
It is a little interesting how it's not called Captain Marvel and the Marvels or something like that. It's just the Marvels. I don't think Brie Larson is gonna I don't think Carol Danvers. I don't think she's gonna be diminished in her role. It's still probably gonna be her movie, but the supporting cast is gonna be so much more important that they went ahead and called it The Marvels. I think it's
right.
And they could easily do a thing where it's The Marvels, and then they could just call the next one Captain Marvel 3 or The Marvels 2. It doesn't as long as Captain Marvel is still the main character, I'm not gonna be that.
Yeah, it should be fine.
Yeah, especially since Captain Marvel, it's a fine movie. People who hate it, I don't it's not worth all the hate it gets. It's fine. She can carry her own movie just fine enough. I don't this is not Marvel kowtowing to the mob and being okay, we're gonna diminish her role in the next movie. I legitimately think it's just the movie has become so much bigger than just her that they had to change the title.
Right. And
I think that Captain America Civil War. They should have called it Avengers Civil War, whatever.
Avengers 2.5. But you got to get a Captain America 3 in there. So okay, sure, fine.
And now we're getting Captain America 4. More presently, Loki has actually been moved up 2 days to June 9th as opposed to June 11th, and then episodes will air on Wednesdays going forward.
Yeah, I heard they're doing that to kind of like make sure the Bad Batch doesn't get like overrun at the same time. So they kind of, because Disney, when you own everything, you got to make sure things stay in their lane.
Yeah. Not to mention, I think the finale of Loki was going to premiere the same day that Black Widow did.
That would also be a good reason to move that over.
Yeah, so that makes sense. That's, again, getting it earlier. I'm not going to complain.
Yep, no complaints.
Oh, yeah, Marvel is still looking very good in the future. Yep. Like, still need to see a trailer for Spider-Man. That'd be nice or whatever. Speaking of Bad Batch, what did you think of that 70-minute premiere?
First of all, I was like, an hour 15. I was like, thank you. Good for that. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was interesting how we kind of like get the whole, I know it was only for the first like 5 minutes, but it's like we started like 2 seconds before Order 66, which I thought was really interesting because I was like, oh gosh, we're gonna
like his Admiral Yulari's recap was episode 3.
Yeah,
like we saw clips from episode 3 in there.
Yes.
And also some stuff from at least like referencing stuff from
season 7,
the Invasion of Mandalore.
Yeah. And I love how it was just, and I love how it started kind of the way the Clone Wars ended, like the big red, like, and it just nope, and I was like, oh well, here we go.
And then you still had him narrating it like it was just a normal Clone Wars episode. And you started on a battlefield with a bunch of clones dying left and right, some droids dying.
Clones shooting at droids, same business and everything, and then
very comfortable.
Yeah.
Then obviously, the Bad Batch came in and wrecked shop.
Stuff.
Did the Padawan, did his voice sound off to you?
Oh, he sounded like a 40-year-old man. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what was up with that.
And also, like, he just had
that kid was like 8. He sounded like he had like a 401k.
Let's assume he was like 18. He's not, but let's assume he was 18.
No.
Like, yeah, why does he sound like a grown man? And why was he just named Caleb? Like, that's like, yeah, you have Luke. That's just a name. But that's the only person in all of Star Wars who just has a name.
I mean, isn't he supposed to be the guy from Star Wars Rebels though? But like he changes. I think that's him. I think it because I know they talked about because that's the same person with that like half-second scene in season 7 where like they're on the conference call or whatever. And I know he has the same lightsaber. So it's like I'm pretty sure that's him. I still haven't seen most of Rebels, so I could be wrong, but I don't know that. I looked into some stuff about. I'll have to fact check that.
I don't think because that guy's name is Ezra.
Well, no, not him. I'm talking about the older guy, his like teacher or whatever. No, Ezra wasn't alive.
That makes more sense. Okay.
Yeah, no, not him.
What's his name?
His name's Kanan in the show, but I think he like changed his name or something like that.
Oh.
So I think that's him because I remember he was talking about Order 66 and stuff also.
Okay.
But I remember, So I'm pretty sure that's him. I know. I'm sure there's other, Star Wars theory people who are like,
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense why they specifically showed him getting away.
Right, and again, he doesn't like show up later. He kind of just disappears.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I think
that's like he still shouldn't have been voiced by a 40-year-old man. But
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he did not need to be a grown-up by any means. He was 12.
But yeah, like it was so funny. Like in every other context throughout the entire show, like throughout all of Clone Wars, when you're watching, just a normal battle scene with clones versus droids, and then a Jedi shows up, you're like, oh, cool. We're gonna, it's gonna be so cool watching the Jedi, wreck shop for a bit. But in this instance, you saw the Jedi there, and you're like, "Oh, she's gonna die soon."
Yeah, it's like, because the guy's like, "Oh yeah, apparently General Grievous is on Utapau." I was like, "Ooh, that's not good." Yeah. It's kind of like, it's like, "Oh man, it's getting late, isn't it?" Like,
yeah, and I was honestly really surprised by just how much I loved the idea of Crosshair being the only one who's still in the programming. Because like I was really confused, or I guess like intrigued about how they would deal with these clones not Order 66ing, but you know, 4 of them uh, not being controlled by it, but then Crosshair, for whatever reason, still having the chip or still having it active. I think he would be I think he is the right choice if one of them were to turn evil. Like Wrecker would be the little like who wouldn't be nearly as intimidating. Hunter is obviously the main character, so like it wouldn't feel right. Tech, I don't like he would it wouldn't work on him.
Like he feels like he's like he feels like the most kind of like could go lone wolf kind of himself other than Hunter, but obviously it's not going to be Hunter.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting.
Yeah, like
and
plus,
like
there we go.
Go.
Yeah, like plus I think even in the Bad Batch arc, Hunter and Crosshair arc had like a like bickered a couple of times anyway. So yeah, it flowed very well. I still want Cody to show up at some point as a villain.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like that should happen. I want it to happen so bad.
That was one of the things that like I know it was probably on purpose just because it's like every clone looked exactly the same. There's no more different hairstyles, different all the armors, like other than like the Coruscant Guard or whatever, all the armor looks exactly the same, like immediately. And it was just kind of like, oh man. Like they're basically droids at this point, like no one had any personality. Everyone's just like, good soldiers follow orders and all that. And it was just like, oh man, this sucks.
And I loved how to the Bad Batch, they didn't feel any different. But like to us, we could tell something was up. And like,
yeah. Because like you and me, because it's just like, yeah, you're so used to because clones were like the best part of the Clone Wars, arguably, and now here they're just kind of like drones almost.
Yeah, like, oh, and also I loved how like you completely bought why the Bad Batch was acting the way they were to the situation, because they, outside of Anakin, they didn't really have any connection to the Jedi. They were just like, the Jedi are dying, like okay, whatever, like we're still gonna fight, like cool. But if it was any other like batch of clones that somehow got the chip taken out, or like it didn't work for whatever reason, they would probably be concerned. They would probably react very differently. But the Bad Batch, they reacted in a way that made perfect sense for just how they viewed stuff.
Which is one of the reasons that I thought it was kind of weird how Echo was kind of like not as freaking out. Like, granted, he's been like away for a while, but like he's been on quite a few missions. Like we've seen Echo and other things. Like he's one of the OGs.
Yeah, like
I expected him to like out of everyone, he would have been like, guys, something's wrong, And they're like, Echo, shut up, we're fine.
Yeah, I felt at least in the first episode, Echo was heavily underutilized. Like I was kind of hoping that he would be like, because we did already know who he was. I was kind of hoping he would. He wouldn't just fit in so seamlessly with the rest of them, because he didn't really seem to stand out really in any scene he was in, aside from him reacting to Tarkin being nearby, which that makes so much sense. I love seeing Tarkin.
Which I totally forgot till we brought it up, that Tarkin was at the Citadel in the first place when he died, and I was like, oh, that makes so much sense how he immediately recognizes him, because that was the whole like, I totally forgot about that. And I was like,
yep,
that's so smart. Of course you bring Tarkin, because of course Tarkin is Tarkin as always. Look at walks off with a boss with his
I don't have a ton to say about the Bad Batch. It just feels like more Clone Wars action. The Bad Batch, specifically, none of them like got on my nerves too much. I don't think Wrecker is probably the only one who like will probably by the end of the show I'll be done with. But as of right now, the others seem to be fine. I obviously I'm excited for this Friday when they're going to continue.
Mhm.
Like having one episode on Star Wars Day and then another episode like a couple of days later and then Fridays from there. I think that's very
because
very good.
didn't they do that last year?
They did that with
Clone Wars.
Yeah, Clone Wars season 7. They had one on Friday and then the next I think it was Tuesday. Yeah, I think it was Tuesday last year too. The final episode was on Star Wars Day.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it was. Yeah, but and I like this show so far. I really like how it's not just kind of like years later. It's still kind of like fresh, but you can already see how different it is. Like the Empire just kind of like, boom, we're doing this because like they already have Imperial probe droids. They already, Tarkin's already got a whole new outfit.
Mhm.
Like, I was just, and I love the scene where like he's talking to the Prime Minister or whatever. He's like, well, Chancellor Palpatine. He's like, Emperor Palpatine. And I was just like, oh, we're doing this. Oh,
and I loved how like it just boiled down to a business transaction. Like the only reason why they didn't continue using clones and instead got stormtroopers was that it's a cheaper option. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
really?
The Prime Minister was like, these clones are perfect soldiers. They have perfect accuracy. No, it's fine. We'll just recruit people. Like, what if
save some money?
Okay, we can literally mind control these people to do whatever you want. No,
that's fine. We'll just get regular. I don't know. There's got to be something else though. There's got to be something else. I don't know. I feel like they're evil, but they're not just cheap. Like there's got to be probably, I don't know. Maybe there is. I don't know. Maybe it's just because we need stormtroopers to be a thing. I
think like essentially, I know like if at least in the extended lore, they used clone troopers for as long as they had them around, and then once they ran out, they ran out.
Right.
That's probably going to be the case in Bad Batch, where they'll probably have to deal with clones like a couple of times throughout, but by the end of it, it'll just be stormtroopers.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, okay, so what about this new character we had? What did you think about Omega? Huh?
Omega?
Omega? Was it Omega? It was Omega,
it's
right?
Omega. She's okay. I mean, they're all New Zealandese. Yeah, but like they got one of the most New Zealand people I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I really like it. When the Bad Batch, first appeared, I was like, it would have been very interesting. I literally thought it would have been interesting to actually have a woman clone. Like, I just think that makes sense. Like, yeah, they have one now. So
cool. Yeah. I think it's interesting how she kind of just like, oh, I can shoot awesome now. Like, do you think she has some kind of like power adaptability? She can kind of just like get good at stuff.
Yeah, like maybe that, or just the fact that she is a clone. Like, she doesn't necessarily like her. She already has programming inside of her to just be good at that stuff.
Is she a Django clone, or is she like something else?
I mean, I think she's a Django altered clone, like the Bad Batch. Like they experimented on.
It's like if it looked like a girl version of the other clone, that'd be one thing, but it looks completely different. Like,
I think she's supposed to be a girl version. Like, her face structure is very similar.
Okay. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe the hair just threw me off, but I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting. That's kind of cool, though. But I'm interested to see where this goes.
Yeah, honestly, I think she might be the character that'll get the most annoying first.
Yes.
Yeah, but
because Gregor's annoying, but like in a different kind of way. Like he's like as long as Gregor doesn't tell a bunch of jokes, he'll be fine.
Yeah, he's just kind of loud. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm excited for just more Star Wars stuff in general. I'm never going to say more to no to more Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, and it's still in that Clone Wars style that still looks so good.
Yes.
Like, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited to see who we're getting, because we're gonna run into some people that we haven't seen in forever. We might run it, like you said, we might run into Cody or Commander Fox or somebody. We might run into Darth Vader. We don't know. Probably not. But still,
I kind of hope we don't see Vader or Ahsoka or someone like that. Like, especially since we know Vader showing up in the Obi-Wan show. So neither of them, neither of them show up. But like, if they do, I'm not going to complain.
I kind of want to see Vader just because more just like the 501st, like as Vader's fist, more or less, would kind of be the idea. like just to see if we can like recognize any old, because I know most of the clones we know kind of already were with like the Mandalore thing, but like maybe there's some we can think of like, oh my gosh, that's, I can't think of anyone's name right now because most of them are dead, but
Waxer, is he still alive?
well, he's with the 212th, isn't he? He's with the 212th, so that's Obi-Wan.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's not even. Yeah, I don't, because like everyone I can think of, because like Jesse's gone, like obviously they still have Echo, but I mean Fives is gone.
Fives is gone. Yeah.
Yeah. What else is there?
Yeah.
I don't even know. What is
that?
I'm trying to think of different arcs. So I'm like, who's survived?
Not
but
many.
That's the thing. Like, I feel like one nice clone dies in every story arc. It's like crap.
Yeah.
Like
again, like we got it. You guys know what happened to Cody.
Yeah.
Either now or Obi-Wan somewhere. He's got to show up.
It'll be somebody will show. It'll be good. It'll be good.
Oh yeah. So, is there anything else you want to bring up or discuss about anything we talked about today?
I love TV.
Yeah.
Great.
It's great. Yeah, like streaming platforms are showing why they're good, why they are successful.
And things are coming. And like I think movies soon. July can't get here soon enough, man. I'm excited.
Yep, I'm fully vaccinated, so I'm gonna see Black Widow in it.
Yep,
it's great.
Yep, totally.
Yeah,
first movie back, it'll make $1 billion. I will help the cause.
So yeah, if you haven't seen Invincible, watch it. I know we spoiled most of it, but like it's still worth a watch just to watch.
Totally worth the watch.
Just the visceralness of every fight, every death is great. Talking Winter Soldier, I don't think you've missed it. It's good. Bad Batch is just getting started. It's just a fun time to be a nerd. It's great.
It's a great time. It's a great time for content.
Yep.
In general.
Okay, so with that, we'll see you all next time.
Take care, guys.